In this video, it's time to get to the bottom of the transmission woes on Little Tuck. Right, so let's start with how we get at the transmission. The transmission is below here, which is not entirely useful. So we need to remove the engine cover, which we do by knocking out these hinge pins, and then we can lift the whole thing away. Inside, a bit more complicated, because we have to remove the seat back, or at least tilt it, so we can remove this internal cover. And much of the transmission is below this shelf. You'll note my desperate attempt to quieten it down a bit. I got given these at Festival of the Unexceptional. I'm not sure they're ever going to be useful, but I quite like having the retro packaging. I shall place them upon this marvellous pile of absolute junk. Maybe need to have a tidy up. Nothing new there. Right, here we go then. One of the hinge pins out. There's my magnetic tray. This is definitely a magnetic tray occasion. Magnetic tray covered in all sorts of crap. And now it's just a case of unlock and lift away. Job's a good one. And this just springs out. Couldn't be more simple. Getting the internal cover off, not quite so easy. Yeah, so always make sure the transmission's in neutral on one of these, because you don't want to accidentally start it in gear. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Right, and with the bolts undone, we can lift the seat back out. Now going to unclip the seat belt. Move that out of the way. And that's the handlebar tape that fell off. Never mind, 15 quid well spent that was, wasn't it? Right, screwdriver. So now it's a case of just removing all these screws. They're all simple flatheads, shouldn't take too long to do. And she comes. More Invacar in bits. So now, take you in. Here are the two pulleys, and what concerns me slightly is there is a bush on one of these pulleys that can, just get you the right angle, can seize, causing problems. So you can see the drive belt. I don't think that's as bad as I first thought. So we'll get the cage off to allow better access, and we'll have a look. At least I've got somewhere comfortable to sit while I do it. Right, so here we are. We've got the guard off. You can see the pulley faces have cleaned up quite nicely. That's really shiny now after all the miles. But you can kind of hear the noise, which I think is just because the belt's really old. I can see it's starting to fray on that edge. That's not looking very healthy. So I may have to go and read the manual, so I can get the pulleys off, or at least one of them. I can get one of them off, and there'll be enough space to get the belt off. hopefully. So I haven't got a clue what I'm doing, but let's find out. Okay, here's a tricky conundrum. We need to undo this bolt to remove the pulley. Seems fairly straightforward. The problem being that as soon as you put a spanner on there, the whole thing turns. So you can't apply any loosening torque. I need to find a way of locking this pulley. The service manual contains nothing of any use whatsoever. It just says remove the bolt and the washer. Thanks for that. Ah, there we go. I've used this screwdriver. There's a hole on the back of the drum, so I have now got that finger tight. Out comes the bolt. And in theory, off comes the pulley. Well, let's get the screwdriver out first. Not sure I'm going to be able to do that one-handed. Right, I shall try and get that off without holding it. Might have to do the other one as well, I think. That one's even more of a pain. Look at the wonderful positions you end up in when working on old cars. Well, sorry you missed that, but we've got both the pulleys off. And now you can see how they work. If I can get my leg round. Oh. So you've got a V pulley, and as these speed up, the belt tends to run higher, which increases the gearing. It can make lots of noise as well. And this one adjusts. There's a big spring in it, so as that one speeds up, this disc moves that way, which lowers the gearing on that one. So it ends up being like having the big crank on the front of your bicycle where you pedal, and then dropping down to a small one at the back. So for the more you get more rotations of that for one rotation of that, so that increases your gearing. Here's the drive belt, which doesn't look to be in bad condition, but I'm just going to go and grab a spare one, which I have somewhere. I've carefully put them somewhere so I won't lose them. I wonder where that was. Right then, we'll give it a go refitting the pulleys. I've just put a bit of oil on the sliding shaft inside that one. We don't need the red ribbon, thank you, because that may help this actually open up a bit, in theory. We shall see. At least it doesn't seem to be seized on that shaft, but I have no great desire to take that apart. So we'll go for putting these back on with a brand new drive belt. Should be interesting. What makes this extra interesting is having these keys to make sure the pulleys are in exactly the right place. I don't know if that one's going to stay in there. Or oh no, it will. Right. Crank it in position and see if we can get the pulleys back on with a new belt. Let's go for this one first. And we get the other pulley in. Now, I hope this is going to work. You're meant to use a special tool to hold this second pulley open, but needless to say, I haven't got a special tool, so I'm going to be doing it the old-fashioned way. It will help if I have the pulley the right way around. Just a rough guess. So I may need to try and force that myself, but this is going to be fun. Right, we don't have a special tool, but I do have a special wipe. So let's see if we can do this. Got to spread the pulleys and get the belt into the gap.
That's not. You need the belt inside your hands.
Okay. Oh, almost there.
No. Let's try this again. Maybe you do need your hands in between, okay?
But then my hands are going to be in the way.
We'll try. I don't know how much.
It's a rather solid spring. Oh, there we go. I think we might be there. I think that belt is that trapped in. No, not quite. There we go.
Hold on more. Again.
Yeah, that should hold that in place. Right, now we'll get it back in the car, which we're not going to film because this is getting a bit silly. There we go, we got the new belt on. That was a bit of a palaver, so we got the nuts tightened up and the lock tabs knocked into place. And by the power of magic, we can demonstrate how the belt seems to flop around quite a lot.
I'm not going that way.
No, try to go away. There we go. So we'll go for a drive now and see how well that actually works. But let's just do a... Yeah, when I was doing that before, that was squeaking all over the place, but that does seem a little on the loose side to me. And the only way to adjust it is with that adjuster, but let's try a test drive first of all and see what happens. Still some squealing going on. Right, we've got the belt in, but it still seems a bit loose to me. I mean, it's nice that it doesn't squeak in that position anymore, which it was doing this morning. But this looks like the belt adjuster. I love how the throttle cable just comes straight through here. So we'll see if we can adjust that, put a bit more tension on the belt. Right, we'll go for a drive and see if it's made any difference. I've still got the back open, so it's a bit louder than normal. Still squealing. No, we don't think that's fixed it. Well, I've adjusted the tension both ways. It's now a little bit looser, but still the squealing persists, and you can see how shiny the pulley is. perhaps too shiny. So I'm a bit stuck at the moment. I think I'm actually going to put Tuck away in the garage for a bit and have a break, because we've had an awful lot of fun with Project Invacar, and I think I actually need a rest more than anything. So yep, there will be more adventures of Tuck in good time. Look, she's wearing her Festival of the Unexceptional plaque proudly. But I think for now, we'll say that'll do. So that's where we are with Tuck. I filmed that section last week. I'm now on a really busy schedule with publishing, so I've had to just park her up, and we'll do some investigations at some point, but at least she's in out to dry after her mighty adventure, and being kept company by Ellie the 2CV. Don't worry, they're not quite as close as they appear. Look, loads of room. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe before you go, and don't forget you can visit hubnut.org, where you can buy stickers and Tuck t-shirts, and I do have some new designs on the way as well, because why should Tuck get all the glory? But I do still have some left, not all sizes, so yeah, buy them while you can. I shall see you in a future video. Farewell.